Questions? Chad?
Thank you.
You back with that microphone again?
Always with the microphone. You wrote to the president demanding a bipartisan meeting. Why do you think, based on how things have gone over the past 36 days, that any meeting now will be different than the meeting we had back in late September?
Well, that's a good question because we've seen nothing but irresponsible behavior from Donald Trump subsequent to the meeting that we demanded then, that he reluctantly agreed to. But 36 days later, where thousands, hundreds of thousands of hardworking federal employees are being forced to work without pay, where Donald Trump has unlawfully withheld SNAP benefits to children and seniors and families and women and veterans who are at risk of going hungry. The fact that tens of millions of Americans right now, as we are in open enrollment, are realizing that their premiums, copays, and deductibles are about to skyrocket in ways that will make healthcare unaffordable. And Donald Trump's clear acknowledgement that the American people are holding Republicans accountable for shutting down the government. The only way to move forward with a bipartisan negotiation is for the president to get off the sidelines and get in the game so we can reopen the government, enact a bipartisan spending agreement, and decisively address the Republican health care crisis in a manner consistent with what Marjorie Taylor Greene and other traditional swing seat Republicans whose seats are now at grave risk have indicated needs to happen.
But his attitude seems no different than it was in late September when you talked.
Unfortunately, we've seen a lack of presidential leadership, and we've seen this in a variety of different ways from the very beginning of this term. It's a my way or the highway approach. That's the reason why Republicans have shut the government down up until this point. But it's not working for the American people, and they're going to have to change course.
Leader Jeffries.
Thank you.
Leader Jeffries.
How hard will it be to hold the Maine 2nd District now that Mr. Golden is dropping out? And then also, can you comment on this nascent bipartisan talks in the Senate? There's a promise of an ACA vote in the Senate. It seems like some moderate Democrats would go for that to reopen the government.
We're going to take back control of the United States House of Representatives, so let's be very clear about that. When we flipped the House in 2018, we were 24 seats short. And in that cycle, we won 40 seats. 24 seats short, and we won 40 seats. Based on the environment that we now know exists, which as Democrats we've been telling you for the last several months is the reality, but now it's been confirmed by the American people. And House Democrats being only 3 seats short. And thanks to what was done in California with respect to Prop 50 and this strong Democratic response across the country in state after state after state, and stay tuned because more is coming, Republicans are going to be unable to gerrymander their way into rigging the midterm elections. That scheme is over, buried, dead in the ground. And so we're going to take back control of the House and fight for every inch of territory. Congressman Goldman is a good man. He's a patriot. He served this country overseas, fought hard, risked his life, and has spent the last several terms working hard on behalf of the people of Maine. He's going to finish out his term. He will be missed, and we're going to hold that seat. Let me also yield to Susan Delbene.
I just will reiterate what the leader said. I commend Jared for his incredible service to the people of Maine and to our country as a Marine, as a state legislator, as a member of Congress. It is a hard job on his family, and so I wish him the best and his ongoing and will continue to have the honor of working with them for the rest of this term. But we absolutely intend to keep that seat.
Leader Jeffries.
Part 2 of my question, though, was on the
what was part 2?
bipartisan talks in the Senate in exchange for a vote on the ACA subsidies. Some senators are saying they may be willing to vote for a CR. What's your thoughts on that?
Our view remains the same, that we will consider in good faith anything that emerges from the Senate, as long as it's bipartisan, that reopens the government. It has to decisively address the Republican health care crisis. We'll evaluate it on the merits. We remain in close communication with our Senate colleagues from Leader Schumer on down.
Leader Jeffries, last night in New York, Zoran Mamdani made no apologies about being a democratic socialist. Are you personally really comfortable with having a socialist running your city?
Zoran Mamdani is the mayor-elect of the city of New York, and it's incumbent upon everyone to make sure that he's successful.
Leader Jeffries.
Second row.
I want to ask about the Venezuela briefing today. Do you feel like you received a sufficient briefing from the administration, or do you need more information?
More information.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. I want to go back to the letter that you and Leader Schumer sent to the president demanding a meeting. Soon after that letter was sent, he told Senate Republicans again to nuke the filibuster. Does that give you, any indication that he is interested in bipartisanship if he's telling Senate Republicans, after you and Leader Schumer demanded a meeting to try to find a bipartisan solution, that he is in fact interested in bipartisanship?
Donald Trump continues to own this shutdown. Effectively, he's saying that Republicans shut down the government and have the power to reopen it, but they are refusing to do so because they want to continue to gut the health care of the American people. And these extremists have zero interest in lowering the high cost of living. They learned nothing, apparently, from being shellacked all across the country. Anyone else want to jump in? Okay.
Jeffries, speaking of New York, last night you had record turnout in New York City for this election. Would you say that Mamdani is the future of the Democratic Party?
I would say we had record turnout across the country because Democrats in New York City, in Virginia, in New Jersey, and we're so proud of our two colleagues, Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger. They ran amazing campaigns. But what Democrats have done all across the country is lean into the issue of affordability because of the fact that America's too expensive. Costs are too high, and Donald Trump and Republicans, not only have they not done anything about it, they've made it worse. As a result of the Trump tariffs, as a result of them detonating the clean energy economy, that's why electricity bills are skyrocketing. And now, of course, they're forcing these dramatically increased health care premiums to be visited upon the American people.
And just
what are some things from the Venezuela briefing that you did not hear that you would like to hear?
One, we need a full congressional briefing. One of the reasons why we haven't had one is because Mike Johnson and House Republicans have literally been on a taxpayer-funded vacation for the last 6 weeks. This is extraordinary. Mike Johnson has castrated his own majority. They are running scared. They have nothing to say. They're on the sidelines. There's no health care plan. They have no interest in lowering the high cost of living. And, of course, they continue to run this pedophile protection program, which is why they have not sworn in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, which is egregious that this has gone on now for 6 weeks.
Can I say something about Venezuela?
Yeah.
I represent the district with the most Venezuelans in the country. I have not been briefed, and I'm glad that at least the administration briefed some of our leadership. But let's be very clear. This administration lifted sanctions on Maduro, is allowing his regime to be enriched by oil profits, allowing money to flow into the coffers of oil companies, and at the same time engaging in extrajudicial killings with no evidence, short-circuiting what our normal process would be to ensure that you could have witnesses, if you arrest them, who can point you to the top of the food chain when it comes to the drug cartels. And now on top of that, he is allowing those oil profits to flow into Maduro so that he can deport the 600,000 Venezuelans that are here who had TPS that he yanked from them, in spite of the fact that he is still calling Maduro the head of a narco-terrorist regime. How can you justify sending 600,000 people back to a narco-terrorist regime and suggest that safety there has improved? He's a hypocrite. He could care less about Venezuelans or any other Hispanic community, which is why, with the ICE roundups that have taken place for months, you saw huge shifts yesterday in Hispanic communities' voter turnout, flipping from leaning towards Trump to leaning towards Democratic candidates.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. You were talking about Mamdani and the support that he needs to be successful. What does he need to do in order to be considered a success for Democrats?
Well, this is about the city of New York. Everybody who finds themselves in a position of significance needs to govern in a manner that improves the quality of life of the people that they're privileged to represent on issues related to affordability and public safety being right at the top of the list.
Leader Jeffries, thank you. Several Republicans today have suggested that as a result of the election results last night, Democrats might feel emboldened and maybe less willing to work in a bipartisan way to end the shutdown. Your response to that?
We've continued to make the point, and I want to yield to Catherine and Pete and acknowledge that Stephen Horsford has joined us as well. We continue to make the point that we want to sit down with our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, are willing to do it anytime, any place. What are they afraid of? Why are they continuing to be in hiding, unwilling to engage, after being repudiated all across the country? And yet the first thing that Leader Schumer and I did earlier today was to say to President Trump, we're willing to sit down, find a bipartisan path forward, reopen the government, decisively deal with the Republican health care crisis, and actually address the issues of importance to the American people. One of the reasons why Republicans were so decisively defeated all across America yesterday is because their policies have been a complete and total failure. They lied to the American people. They said they were going to focus on making life more affordable and have done the exact opposite. America is now more expensive because of Donald Trump, House and Senate Republicans. All they've done is to focus on massive tax breaks for their billionaire donors and made those tax breaks permanent. That was the one big ugly bill, while at the same time hurting everyday Americans, including by enacting the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, and in that same bill, ripping $186 billion in SNAP benefits away from hungry children, veterans, and seniors. And now they're continuing that cruelty by unlawfully withholding SNAP benefits from 42 million Americans. The American people understand that Republicans have failed them in record speed. And that's why they're moving in a different direction. Yeah.
I have to say that comment, I mean, I just don't know how they wake up each morning and come up with sort of a new low. Since they took office in January, since Donald Trump became president in January, there has been no extension to the Democrats, no desire to come and work with us. There was a CR back in March. Our budget, take it or leave it. Then they went into their budget through the reconciliation process. Take it or leave it. And then they followed up at the end of the year and once again said, take it or leave it. And what we are saying is no to this extreme agenda, that we are not going to sit by when they say our job is going to be to lower costs on day one, and everything they have done in a completely partisan way has made life harder and more expensive for the American people. And this bargain that they have cooked up, that they are going to take Medicare and Medicaid and the ACA tax credits and veterans benefits and medical research in this country, and the SNAP program and cut them in order to pay for permanent tax cuts for the very wealthiest. It is outrageous. And where are they? How would they even know what a negotiation looks like? We've been sitting, waiting for them to come back to Washington, and they simply refuse. We are here. We understand that we need to end this shutdown, and we have been shouting from the rooftops. And now we have been joined by a chorus of American voters who are saying this is not the way forward. We are the ones that matter, not your billionaire donors, not the ballroom off the East Wing, not renovating a bathroom in the White House or throwing a Great Gatsby party during a shutdown. It is about us. And when 60% of American households can't afford the basics, it is long past time. They come and work with Democrats. We understand they control the House, the Senate, and the White House. That's how we got into this shutdown. That is their choice. But we stand ready to negotiate. But you can't negotiate without a partner. So I hope that comment is an indication that they are willing to take in what the American people told them last night and finally come to the table.
Democrats' position is unchanged. We want Republicans to come back to town. We want to reopen government. We want the president to directly engage. And the reason why Leader Jeffries and Leader Schumer are asking is very clear. Mike Johnson is proven untrustworthy because he's walked away from deals, bipartisan deals in the past. So it's imperative to go directly to the president because Republicans control this shutdown. They control the levers of the House and the Senate. But even President Trump now acknowledges that this shutdown may not be the right strategy. So it isn't Democrats who are changing our position. That's a question for Speaker Johnson and Donald Trump. They need to get on the same page. Is the shutdown helpful or harmful to their position? We just don't know. But it's clear that the president believes that the shutdown played a role in their electoral losses last evening. We have been very clear. This is about the American people. This is about the affordability crisis that they face. That was the same comments that we said last week and 2 days ago, as we're saying today. Republicans need to come to the table. They need to reopen government. The only way to do that, we feel, is direct discussions with the president, who clearly feels the pinch of the shutdown and thinks that Republicans have gone down the wrong path.
Thanks, Leader. Secretary Duffy just announced a 10% cut in flights across 40 major U.S. airports due to staffing shortages. Any reaction to that and how it will affect travelers throughout the rest of the shutdown?
Donald Trump, House and Senate Republicans need to come to the table so we can reopen the government, enact a bipartisan spending agreement, and decisively address the Republican healthcare crisis. That includes hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers closing all across America as a result of Republican policies that are putting the health and well-being and safety of the American people in jeopardy.
Fellow Speaker, sorry, Mr. Jeffries.
That's all right. I like the way you said it the first time.
Obviously, Democrats have gained quite a bit of momentum from last night, winning major elections. How do you carry that momentum even as the shutdown continues and people continue to be hurt by it?
Well, we are laser focused on reopening the government, on finding a bipartisan path forward, and addressing the issues that the American people have clearly indicated they want addressed, such as lowering the high cost of living and fixing our broken healthcare system, while delivering a country that actually puts working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans first, as distinguished from what Republicans have done, which is to prioritize solely their big donors, the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. I don't know, Stephen, if you want to jump in, or Lauren. we're in a spread the love kind of mood today.
Well, I would just say it's really clear to me that the results of the election yesterday prove that Donald Trump's agenda is broadly unpopular. His approval numbers show that he's incredibly weak. He's lost. You know, where I'm from, we call that a loser. Democrats, Team Blue, won. And we are here inviting the president to come back to the negotiating table. I think that that's something that the American people would broadly support. It's certainly a winning position, and we're very excited for the midterm elections next November.
So,
I'll just add that what Leader Jeffries has really helped to ensure that the House Democratic Caucus stays focused on are the people that we serve. Not the politics of Washington or the partisanships of the fight here in Congress, but the real life impact of the reckless way that the Republicans have approached this healthcare crisis that we warned them about from the beginning of this year when they were pushing forward on their big ugly bill to give tax breaks to the very wealthy. We warned them then that they were providing no relief to middle-class families in order to keep their health care. We warned them that when they cut $168 billion out of the nutrition assistance program, that it was going to come back to bite them, because it's not just the beneficiaries of SNAP, but it's the local grocery stores who are now losing the economic impact of those dollars. And all the while, this administration has shown us that this has been their plan all along. Cruelty is their plan. And that is their approach. Leader Jeffries has a different approach, and that's one centered on the people and making sure that we stay focused on what it is we're fighting for, and it's the American people and their ability to afford their health care, their groceries, and the ability to get ahead and not to fall behind.
Second row.
Earlier you talked about how tying Jay Jones to Abiel Spanberg wasn't a winning strategy for Republicans. Now they're trying to do it with Mamdani. Why is that not a winning strategy for Republicans?
We're going to continue to stay focused on the issues that are of importance to the American people, putting the affordability crisis first, driving down the high cost of living, addressing the growing inflation that Donald Trump and Republican policies, including through the tariffs, have brought to everyday Americans, and of course addressing the healthcare crisis, which is an American crisis. It's not a political issue for us, it's an American crisis. And we're seeing that all across the country. In fact, the 5 states that will be most impacted as a result of the Republican failure to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits are West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Tennessee, and Mississippi. 45%, a strong plurality of the people who are adversely impacted throughout America by dramatically increased premiums because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits are registered Republicans. This is not a partisan fight for us. It's a patriotic fight on behalf of the American people. Thank you all.